Chapter 15 of Noldor and Beleriand. It has been told how the guidance of Olmotorgon of the Neverest discovered the hidden vale of Tom Laden, and that, as was after known, lay east of the upper waters of Sirion, in a ring of mountains tall and sheer, and no living thing came there save the eagles of thunder. But there was a deep way under the mountains, delved in the darkness of the world, by waters that flowed out to join the streams of Sirion. In this way Turgon found and so came to the green plain amid the mountains, and saw the island hill that stood there, of hard smooth stone. For the vale had been a great lake in ancient days. Then Turgon knew that he had found the place of his desire, and he resolved to build there. Resolved means firmly determined to do something. And he resolved to build there a fair city, a memorial of Tyrion upon Tuna. But he returned to Neverest, and he remained there in peace, though he pondered ever in his thought how he should accomplish his design. Pondered means giving attention or apprehension about something. Now after the dagger Aglareb, the unquiet that almost set in his heart returned to him, set in Turgon's heart, returned to him. And he summoned many of the hardiest and most skilled of his people and led them secretly to a hidden vale. And there they began the building of the city that Turgon had devised. And they set a watch all about it, that none might come upon their work from without, and the bower of Olmo that ran in Sirion protected them. But Turgon dwelt still, for the most part, in the Neverest, until it came to pass that the city was full wrought after 250 years of secret toil. And it said that Turgon appointed its name to be Andolindia, the name of Turgon afterward. In the speech of the elves of Valinor, the rock of the music of water, for there was fountain upon the hill, but the Sindarin tongue the name was changed, and it became Gondolin. So in Sindarin tongue he was called Gondolin, while in Noldor was called Andolindia. The hidden rock. Then Turgon prepared to depart from Neverest and leave his halls in Vinyaman, beside the sea, and there Olmo came to him once again and spoke with him, and he said, "Now thou shalt go at last to Gondolin, Turgon, and I will maintain my bow in the vale of Sirion, and in all that waters therein, so that none shall mark thy going, nor shall any find there the hidden entrance against thy will." So these names were not for Turgon, but for the place that made by Turgon. Longest of all the realms of the Eldalia shall Gondolin stand against Melkor, but love not to well the work of thy hands and the devices of thy heart. And remember that the true hope of the Noldor lieth in the west, and cometh from the sea. So it wasn't this exact place was pointed to be for the elves, or for the Noldor in specific. And Olmo warned Turgon that he also lay under the doom of Mandos, which Olmo had no power to remove. Thus it may come to pass, he said, that the curse of the Noldor shall find thee to ere the end, that the curse also will find him, or it means you will be doomed before the end. And treason awake within thy walls, within your walls, then they shall be in peril of fire. But if this peril draweth nigh indeed, draweth means proximate to you indeed, then even from the Neverest one shall come to warn you, and from him beyond ruin and fire hope shall be born for elves and men. Leave therefore in these arms and a sword, that in years to come he may find them, and thus shalt thou know him, and not be deceived. And Almo declared to Turgon of the kind and stature should be the helm and mail and sword that he left behind. Helm means helmet, or the and mail is the armor and sword that left behind. Then Almo returned to the sea, and Turgon sent forth all his people, even to a third part of the Noldor of Fingolfin's following, and a yet greater host of the Sindar, and they passed away, company by company, secretly under the shadows of arid Wuthering, and they came unseen to Gondolin, and none knew whither they had gone. And the last of the Turgon arose, and went with his household silently through the hills, and passed the gates in mountains, and they were shut behind him. So after they crossed, the gates were shut behind him, or smashed behind him. Though many long years, none passed in walk thereafter, save Hurin and Hor only, and the host of Turgon came never forth again until the year of lamentation, after 350 years and more. But behind the circle of the mountains the people of Turgon grew and throve. And they put forth their skill and labor unceasing. So the Gondolin among Gareth became fair indeed, and fit to compare even with the elven Tyrion beyond sea. High and wide were its walls, smooth its stairs, and tall and strong was the tower of the king. Their shining fountains played, and in the course of Turgon stood images of the trees of old, which Turgon himself wrought with elven craft, and the trees which he made of gold named Glingel, and the trees whose flowers he made of silver was named Belthel. But fairer than all the wonders of Gondolin was Idril, Turgon's daughter, she that was called Celebrindel, the silver-foot, whose hair was as the gold of Lyolin, the one of the trees, before the coming of Melkor. Thus Turgon lived long in bliss, but never rest was desolate, and remained empty of living folk until the ruin of Beleriand, because they departed from it. Now where the city of Gondolin was building in secret, Finrod Filgrand wrought in the deep places of Nargothrond, but Galadriel his sister dwelt, as has been told, in the Thingol's realm in Doriath. And at times Melian and Galadriel would speak together of Valinor and the bliss of old. But beyond the dark hour of death of the trees, Galadriel would not go, but ever fell silent. And on time Melian said, "There is some woe that lies upon you and your kin, that I can see in you, but all else is hidden from me. For by no vision or thought can I perceive anything that passed or passes in the west. A shadow lies over all the land of Aman, and reaches far out over the sea. Why will you not tell me more? For that woe is past," said Galadriel, "and I will take what joy is here left, untroubled by memory, and maybe there is a woe enough yet to come, though still hope may seem bright." Then Melian looked in her eyes and said, "I believe not that the Noldor came forth as messengers of the Valar, as was said at first, not though they came in the very hour of our need, for they speak never of the Valar, nor have ever high lords brought any message to Thingol, whether from Manwë or Ulmo, or even from the Olwë, the king's brother, and his own folk that went over the sea. For what cause, Galadriel, were the high people of the Noldor driven forth as exiles from Aman? Or what evil lies on the sons of Fëanor, that they are so haughty means firm and rigid, and so fell? So do I not strike near the truth?" "Near," said Galadriel, "save that we were not driven forth, but came of our own will, and against that of the Valar, and through great peril, and in despite of the Valar, for this purpose we came, to take vengeance upon Morgoth and regain what he stole." Then Gandalf spoke to Melian of the Silmarils and of the slaying of the king Finwë at Formenos, but still she said no word of the oath, nor of the kinslaying, nor of the burning of the ships at Losgard. But Melian said, now much you tell me, and yet more I perceive a darkness you will cast over that thing God from Tirion, but I see evil there, which Thingol should learn from his guidance. Maybe, said Galadriel, but not of me. And Melian spoke then no more of these matters with Galadriel. But she told the king Thingol all that she had heard of the Silmarils. This is a great matter, she said, greater indeed than the Noldor themselves understand. For the light of Aman and fate of Arda is locked on now in these things. That work of Valinor who is gone, they shall not be recovered. I foretell by any abode of the elder, and the world shall be broken in battle that are to come, ere they are wrested from Morgoth. Wrested means stolen from Morgoth. See now, Valinor they have slain, and many other as I guess, but first of all, the death they have brought, and yet shall bring was Finwë, your friend, Morgoth slew him, ere he fled from Aman. Then Thingol was silent, being filled with grief and foreboding. Foreboding means feeling something bad would happen, or be aware. But at length he said, now at last I understand the coming of the Noldor out of the west, at which I wondered much before, not to our eye did they come, save by chance. For those that remain in Middle-earth, the Valar will leave to their own devices, until the uttermost need. Leave to their device means to their own will, they will not interrupt, the Valar will not interrupt with Noldor, until the uttermost need for vengeance and redress or reform or repair of their loss, the Noldor came. Yet all that more shall be as allies against Morgoth, with whom it's not now to be thought that they shall ever make treaty. Treaty means, or treaty. Treaty means formally concluded agreement between two sides. Means yes, it's a way of agreement between two sides. But Melian said, truly for these causes they came, but for others also. Beware of the sons of Valinor, the shadow of the wrath of wrath of the Valar lies upon them, and they have done evil. I perceive both in Aman and to their own kin a grief but lulled to sleep. Lulled means calm or is about to sleep, lies between the princes of the Noldor. And Thingol answered, what is that to me? Of Valinor I have heard but report, which makes him great indeed. Of his sons I hear little to my pleasure, yet they are likely to prove the deadliest foes of our foe. Means the foes of our foe means Milker or Morgoth. The swords and their counsels shall have two edges, I said, Melian, and afterwards they spoke no more of this matter. It was not being before whispered tales began to pass among the Sindar concerning the deeds of the Noldor ere they came to Beleriand. Certain it is whence they came, and the evil truth was enhanced and poisoned by lies. But the Sindar were not yet unwary and trustful of words, and as may well be thought, Morgoth chose them for this first assault of his malice, for they knew him not, and Círdan, hearing these dark tales, was troubled, for he was wise and perceived swiftly that true or false they were but about at this time through malice, though the malice he deemed was that of the prince of the Noldor because of the jealousy of their houses. Therefore he sent messengers to Thingol to tell all that he had heard. It chanced that at that time, the sons of Finarfin were again the guests of Thingol, for they wished to see their sister Galadriel. Then Thingol, being greatly moved, spoke in anger to Finrod, saying, I will have you done to me, kinsman, to conceal so great matters from me, for now I have learned of that evil deeds of the Noldor. Means that you are what you have done. Are you trying to do something to me, kinsman, that you have concealed, means hiding so great matters from me? For now I have learned all that evil deeds of the Noldor. But Finrod answered, what I will have I done, yon Lord, to you, Lord? Or what evil deed have the Noldor done in your realm to grieve you? Neither against your kinship nor against any of your people have they thought evil or done evil. I marvel at you. Marvel means I'm astonishing at you, son of Erwin. Erwin and their mother, the daughter of all the way, the brother of Thingol, or as we saw, anyway, Thingol. That you would come, say Thingol, that you would come to the board of your kinsmen, thus red-handed from the slaying of your mother's kin, and yet say not in defense, nor yet seek any pardon? Then Finrod was greatly troubled, but he was silent, for he could not defend himself save by bringing charges against the other princes of the Noldor, and that he was loath to do before Thingol. But in Angrod's heart, the memory of the words of Caranthir welled up again in bitterness, and he cried, Lord, I know not what lies you have heard, nor whence, but we came not red-handed with guiltless. We came for save maybe of folly, to listen to the words of Felfenor, and become as if besotted with wine. Besotted, sorry. Besotted means infatuated or inspired with wine. And as briefly, no evil did we do on our road, but suffered ourselves a great wrong and forgave it. For this we are named tale-bearers to you and treasonable to the Noldor, or treasonably referred to the treason, or betray to the Noldor, untruly, as you know, for we have of our loyalty been silent before you, and thus earned your anger, but now these charges are no longer to be borne. Borne means carried on, and the truth yon shall know. Means we have a loyalty, we didn't came as a tale-bearer or to be betrayed to the Noldor. Then Angrod spoke bitterly against the sons of Fëanor, telling of the blood of Alacolandi, and the doom of Mandos, and the burning of the ships at Losgar, and he cried, wherefore shall we that under the grinding ice bear the name of kinslayers and traitors? Means that we are bearing that, or endure the grinding ice, to be paired as a kinslayers and traitors. Yet the shadow of Mandas lies on you also, said Melian. But Thingol was long silent ere he spoke. Go now, he said, for my heart is hot within me. Later you may return if you will, for I will not shut my doors forever against you, my kindred, that were ensnared in an evil that you did not hide. With Fingolfin and his people also I will keep friendship, for they have bitterly atoned. Atoned means reparation, or make amends or reparation, to remove the sins, for example, for such ill as they did. And in our hatred of the bars that wrought all this woe, our grief shall be lost. But hear my words. Never again in my ears shall be heard the tongue of those who slew my kin in Alacolandi, nor in all my realm shall it be openly spoken. While my power endures, all the Sindar shall hear my commands, that they shall neither speak with the tongue of the Noldor, nor answer to it. And all such as use it shall be healed, slayers of kin and betrayals of kin, unrepentant without regret. The sons of Finarfin departed from Minigoth with heavy hearts, perceiving now the words of Mandos would ever be made true, and that none of the Noldor that followed after Fëanor could escape from the shadow that lay upon his house. And it came to pass, even as Thingol had spoken, for the Cinder heard his word, and thereafter throughout Beleriand they refused the tongue of the Noldor, and shunned means avoid, shunned those that spoke it aloud. But the exiles took the Cinderan tongue in all their daily use, and the high speech of the West was spoken only by the lords of the Noldor among themselves. Yet that speech lived ever as a language of law wherever any of that people dwelt. It came to pass that Nargothrond was full worth, and yet Nargothrond, the land of Finrond, or the fortress, let's say, or the castle, was full made in here. Means, yet Thorgon still dwelt in the halls of Vinyamar, and the sons of Finarfin were gathered there to feast. And Galadriel came from Doriath and dwelt while in Nargothrond. Now King Finrod Filiagond had no wife, and Galadriel asked him why this should be. But foresight came upon Filiagond as she spoke, and he said, "An oath I too shall swear, and must be free to fulfill, and go into darkness, nor shall anything of my realm endure that son should inherit." So I don't want my son, I don't want to marry, I don't want myself to inherit my sins or my all my evil deeds, and I hold it as an oath or as a swear. I will never do that again. But it is said that not until that hour had such cold thoughts ruled him. For indeed she whom he had loved was Amaria of the Vanyar, and she went not with him into exile. Here this means, but it said that not until that hour had such cold thoughts ruled him. She whom he had loved was Amaria, means that she loved him before the exile, loved Finrod, but even though he still have a cold thoughts about her, and that's why she was asked him, because he was not married yet, because she loved him. And the one also called Amaria of the Vanyar before he went to exile. And this is the end of this chapter.